Hello friends, welcome back to our channel Ramika's Diary. Today we're going to be seeing some grammar in CBSE Class 8, Chapter 13, the article. So let's get into the video. So articles. There are 3 articles in grammar. A, and, the. So let's see when each of these are used and their examples. So first, a. If a singular word starts with a consonant letter, so like other than vowels or sounds. So, what are vowels? A, E, I, O, U. So, these are vowels. So, if a singular word starts with letters other than vowels or other consonant sounds. For example, a balloon, a uniform. So, here, this is a singular word. Balloon is a singular word. And it started with B. B is a consonant, so we use A. A uniform. Here, you could say that like uniform started with U and U is a vowel, so why can't we use an? But here, U, it made like the consonant sound. The vowel sound of U is like a. So like umbrella. So in umbrella, the U sounded like a. So that's a vowel sound. But here, in uniform, the U didn't sound like a. It sounded like U. So if it sounds like U, then it's a consonant sound. So that's why we used Next, an. If a singular word starts with a vowel, so like A, E, I, O, U, or vowel sounds. For example, an elephant, an hour. Here, elephant started with E, and it's a singular word, so we use an. An hour. You can say that like H is a consonant, so why can't we put a? The H sounds like a vowel sound. If you're saying hat, then you'll say a hat, because it sounds like a consonant sound. But here it sounds like a vowel sound. There's also another example for this. An honest girl. So in these 2 words, the H is silent. You could only hear the O in here. So since the H is silent, so like you can't hear it when I say our or honest, we use an in both cases. But in hat, you could hear the letter H. Hat. You could hear it, so that's why we are using a for it. Next, the. When you are talking about something specific. So like the sun. So here, you're talking about something specific. The sun. You would never say a sun. You say the sun. Let's see an example for the in a sentence. So I saw a ball on the ground. The ball was yellow. So this is an example sentence. So in here, first, when you're first talking about the ball, you use a. So like B is a consonant. So we use a when you are first talking about it in the sentence. So here, you're talking specifically about the ball. So like you're saying the ball was yellow. So then you use the. So when you're first talking about something like so new, then you use a or an. But then when you are talking about it specifically, you use the. Articles are demonstrative adjectives that serve a grammatical function of identifying noun as particular or non-particular. Articles are used to identify if a noun is particular or non-particular. So if it's particular, we use the. If it's non-particular, we use a or an. So first, indefinite articles. So they are a and an. The indefinite articles a and an are used when we do not refer to any particular person or thing. They are the weakened form of one. So a and an is only used for singular. So it's like you're saying there's one. So like a chocolate, an apple. Here there's only one chocolate and one apple. A and an are used to represent something that's one in quantity. So first, let's see when to use a. So use a before words that begin with a consonant sound. So like a boy, a pen, a hero, a poor man. Vowel with a consonant sound. So like you, so you are woo. So vowel with a consonant sound. A university, a union, a 1 rupee note, a one-legged man. So here, the vowels sounded like a consonant. So here, a vowel sounded like a consonant. Next, when to use an. Use an before words that begin with a vowel sound. So like an egg, an arrow, an apple, an artist, an umbrella, an island, an orange. Use use in the places of silent H. So like where the first syllable is not stressed. So an hour, an honest, an air. Consonant abbreviation with a vowel sound. So an MA, an SDM, an HMT, an NCC. So like where you use like short forms for big words, you could use an in those places. Next, general use of a and an in the numerical sense of one. So she bought a dozen of apples. So here there's only 1 dozen of apples. So we used a. A stitch in time saves 9. So there's only 1 stitch. In the sense of the same. So men of a caste eat together. So like it represents something same. So here the men of a same caste. So that's what I mean here. So like men of a same caste. So they are both in the same caste. So here a represents the word same. Birds of a feather flock together. So birds of the same feather. So like maybe like the same kind of feather or the same color of feather. Also here, the same caste. In the sense of a certain. So a boy come and knocked at the door. So when you're certain about it. So in a sense of every. So Rohit gets a salary of 60,000 a month. So here, a represents every. So he gets $60,000 every month. So you're using a instead of saying every. So in a general sense, they represent the whole class. So a junior should obey his senior. So here, what you mean by a junior is you're meaning like all the juniors. So instead of writing all the juniors, you're just using a in here. Next, when 2 things are used as a unit. So she was ready with the cup and saucer. So here, you mean the entire unit. A cup and saucer is an entire unit. Next, to imply the similarity. So he thinks he's a Spider-Man. So it's an example. So here, he thinks he's a Spider-Man. So cause maybe there's a similarity between him and Spider-Man. So he thinks he's a Spider-Man. So here, represents similarity. So next, definite article, the. So before we were saying indefinite article, so like and an. Now we're saying the definite article of the. So now we're going to see the definite article, the. Is used when we refer to a particular person or particular thing. It is the weakened form of that. So before we saw and an, they were the weakened form of one. Now we're going to see the, which is the weakened form of that. So and an, we represent one thing. So like one person, one place, etc. So in these sentences, we don't use one, we use a. So instead of saying one, we say a. So example. Example for the. So like the person, the place, etc. So here, when we use the, it actually means like we're saying that person, that place. So I hope you understood that like and an is the weakened form of one, and then the is the weakened form of that. So now let's see the general uses of the. The is used when we speak of, so there's 10. So there's 10 uses. So the is used when we speak of a particular person or thing, things which are the only ones of their kind, so like the unique ones. When a singular countable noun is mentioned again. When a singular noun is used to represent a whole class. With superlative adjectives. Before comparative adjectives to denote selection out of two. With ordinals. Before musical instruments. Before a noun with special emphasis. The last one, before proper nouns qualified by an adjective. So let's see one by one in detail. So first, a particular person or thing. So for example, the book you want is not printed this year. So here, you're talking about the particular thing, which is book. So we used the. Next, things which are the only ones of their kind. So like the unique ones. So the sun, there's only one sun of its kind. There's only one moon of its kind. There's only one earth of its kind. There's only one sky that's of its kind. The North Pole, there's only one North Pole. So we use the in those places. Next, when a singular countable noun is mentioned again after the first use of a and an. So let's see the sentence. I saw a beggar, the beggar came to me. So here, when we first mentioned the beggar, we used a. But then after we started specific about the beggar, so we used the. We used the when the countable noun is being mentioned again after the first use of a and an. Next, when a singular noun is used to represent a whole class. So the cow is a domestic animal. So here, the cow, you mean like all the cows. Next, with superlative adjectives, so like the tallest man in the village. Here, tallest is the superlative adjective. There's also another example. The largest animal on earth is elephant. So here, largest is the superlative adjective, so we used the. So if you want to know what are superlative adjectives, you could watch the previous video on the chapter of adjectives. Next, before compared to adjectives to denote selection out of two. So Manoj is the taller of the two brothers. So here, it's like the selection out of two in compared to adjectives. So taller is compared to adjective. So here, Manoj is the selection out of him and his brothers. So we used the. Next, with ordinals, so like first, second, third, etc. The first boy in the third row. Next, before musical instruments, so the harmonium, the flute, the piano, the guitar, etc. Before a noun with special emphasis, so the verb is the word, the chief word in a sentence. Next, before proper nouns qualified by an adjective, so like the great Nehru, the immortal Mahatma Gandhi. So here, we use the before the nouns that are qualified by an adjective. Here, the noun Nehru is qualified by the adjective great, so then we use the. Mahatma Gandhi is the noun that's qualified by the adjective immortal, so we use the. So this is the adjective, noun, adjective, noun. So remember, we also use the when the noun is qualified by an adjective. Next, special categories of the. So this is typically used before the names of. So there are some special categories. This is the category. Examples. So categories: straits, the Palk Strait, the Strait of Gibraltar. So straits are a narrow stretch of water that connects two water bodies. So let's say there's one ocean here, one ocean here, and this is the narrow stretched body of water that connects these two oceans. So it connects. And this part is known as straits. Next, newspapers or magazines. The Tribune, the Indian Express, the Reader's Digest. Historical buildings, so like the Red Fort, the Taj Mahal, the White House. Historical events, the First World War, the Battle of 1857. Planes, trains, ships. The Ashoka Emperor, the Indian Prince, the Queen Elizabeth. Next, rivers, canals. The Indus, the Nile, the Ganga, the Suez Canal. Mountain ranges, so like the Alps, the Himalayas, not before a single mountain like Mount Everest. So you don't use the before like a single mountain like Mount Everest. Oceans, seas, gulfs, bays. The Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean, the Bay of Bengal. Names of seasons. So like the summer, the winter, the spring, the autumn, etc. Inventions. So like the radio, the telephone. There's an exception that you could only say television without using the. Next, when to avoid the. So the is usually omitted before. Omitted means like avoided. So proper nouns like India, Japan, etc. and language like English, French, etc. unless they are qualified by an adjective like the French defeated the Germans. So like the French defeated the Germans. So here they are qualified by an adjective, then you could use the. But instead you should not use the when you're saying languages or proper nouns. Next, materials, plural, common nouns, and abstract nouns used as common nouns. So always speak truth. So here, truth is abstract noun. The horses of Arabia are very strong. So here, plural common noun. Next, names of meals like breakfast, lunch, dinner, when referring to a routine meal. So we have dinner at 8 p.m. You wouldn't say we had the dinner at 8 p.m. Nouns like college, market, school, office, church, temple, prison, when they refer to the primary purpose. Example, he went to school to receive education. So you don't use the in here. Next, names of political parties and organizations like Lokdal, Congress. Next, names of religions and communities. So example, Hinduism, Islam, Sikhs. Okay friends, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Bye.